no friend to me. Wage a war, wage a war, wage a war, wage a war against mediocrity. It ain't no friend to me. Wage a war, wage a war, wage a war, wage a war against mediocrity. It ain't no friend to me. Wage a war, wage a war, wage a war, wage a war against mediocrity. It ain't no friend to me.
What's up out there, friends and family? It's your boy, the motivational teacher to the masses, coming again to bring you another exciting edition of Motivational Monday. I am so excited that you all would allow me to come into your homes on this Monday. If you would, please share this with your top 5 individuals that you want to see grow with you. If they can't grow with you, they can't go with you. And this journey is lonely enough on its own. So please think about your top 5 relationships. Share this video with them, because tonight we're talking about the power of complacency number 2. And for all my replayers, please give me about 30 seconds as I share this out to my top 5, because I want to see some people go with me also. So give me about 30 seconds. I'm starting to see the eyes add up in the room. If you would, shout your boy out. Let me know who's out there tonight. I know there's so many of us right now. We're pushing, we're grinding, we're trying to get to that next level in life. I applaud that every day of the week. I applaud that we're out there and we're trying to make this world a better place. I was talking to a friend of mine today, and we had the conversation about leaving this world a better place than I found it. In order to create that level of impact, guess what? We got to impact people. And one way you can impact people tonight is please share this video with them and let them join in this, what I think is going to be a great conversation tonight, as we talk about the power of complacency. And this will be part 2, because we talked about this same topic last week, but I thought there was so much more information to be shared that I decided to come back and bring a part 2 of this conversation. So give me about 10 more seconds as I'm sharing this out to my top 5, because I want to make sure that none are lost who wants to get this information. All right, let's get to it. Last week, we talked about the power of complacency. We talked about the power of complacency. And this week, we want to pick up on that same message as we embark upon that same journey. The power of complacency. Our definition for complacency is a state of being satisfied or content with one's current situation. It's a state of being satisfied or content with one's situation. Hey, Angelique, thanks for joining us out there on YouTube tonight. Level of success to the extent that it leads to a lack of motivation or a willingness to not to want to improve or take action. That's our definition for complacency. And I named this conversation the power of complacency, because I think a lot of times we are oblivious to powers that work in our life that we have no real knowledge that is working in our life. Do you not know that if you become a complacent individual, it will drive all your decisions? It will drive the results you get in your life. And it's all because of the power of complacency. A lot of times we realize the power that works in our positive. So we say the power of positive confection, or the power of positive thinking, or the power of good habits. We think of it that way. But on the flip side, there's a power of complacency that leads to stagnation and wants to make you average. I'm going to break bread before tonight over. This is the warm-up. And I challenge you all to go back and listen to last week Motivational Monday, as I did the power of complacency justice. Tonight, I want to advance this conversation just a little bit. And I want to talk about how to overcome complacency. I got my notes tonight. I'm trying to say them with the light. I want to talk about the power to overcome complacency. To overcome complacency. Hey, Courtney, thanks for joining us tonight. In order to overcome complacency, we have to set clear goals and deadlines. Come on now, I'm going to give you 3 ways. And tonight, because I plan on going so in depth with the one way, I'm not going to be able to go over all 3, but I promise you I plan to follow up with the other 2. But tonight, I'm going to give you three ways to overcome complacency. Number 1, you have to set clear goals and deadlines. You have to set clear goals and deadline, and you regularly have to review your progress and challenge yourself to learn new things. That's number one. To overcome, let me say it again, because we're going to dive into setting clear goals and expectations for yourself tonight. But let me cover these three. Number two, you have to have and create a supportive environment that encourages your growth and holds you accountable. Create an environment, a supportive environment that encourages growth and holds you accountable. And the third way, you need all three of these presents at once to overcome complacency. And the third way to overcome complacency is to stay motivated by reminding yourself of all the benefits of pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone. So I'm giving you three ways to overcome complacency, but tonight I am really going to only jump into one. The first one, tonight I'm really going to deal with setting clear goals and deadlines for yourself. Why is setting goals so important? Setting good goals is the foundation. It's the genesis of building, of taking yourself from being complacent to going to a high achiever. It's many people out there that wants to be high achievers, but are afraid to write the vision and make it plain, or afraid to set a standard for myself because I'm so afraid of missing the mark. They're so afraid of what might go wrong with that vision that they'd rather not have one and hope they make it by mistake or by osmosis than it is to be intentional about my life. I said all the time, anything that a person doesn't know the purpose of, they will misuse it. If I don't know the purpose of my life, I will absolutely misuse it. If I don't know what my goals are and what my expectations are and what my direction is for my life, then I'm telling you, it's impossible for me to land up in a destination where I think I belong. Because without us really knowing what we're searching for, without us really knowing what we're going by, we don't know how to prioritize our time. I'm going to get in that a little bit. But we got to, number one, be willing to set goals. Why? Number one, goals provide clear direction and purpose for my actions. Goals provide clear direction and purpose of my actions. I'm the motivational teacher to the masses. I'm not worrying about having to go take acting classes, or I'm not so concerned about going and learning how to paint like Rembrandt. I'm not so in awe about going and learning how to play an instrument, because that's not tied to the direction of my life. Not going to take a leadership course, going to take a communication course, going to learn how to do social media, going to learn how to improve those skills, is all tied to my purpose in my life. Goals provide clear direction for your life. Without a vision, the people perish. Could it be that some areas of our lives we're living lackluster because we have not provided great direction in those areas of our lives? I'm breaking bread tonight. Come on, Angelique. If you don't have a purpose for my life, it will absolutely be misused. And some of us can go into the deep corner and crevices of our life and look at different situations, and we'll understand why in one area it's popping and it's working and I'm having so much success because we've given that area in our life direction. And in another area, we'll see that it's lackluster, it's average, it's mediocre, it's fading, it's failing, because we've not added any direction in that place in our life. We see it all the time where pop stars or movie stars have great acting or rapping or singing careers, have a terrible home life because they've given direction to their secular life. They're giving direction to their music, but did not give direction to their family. I'm breaking bread now. They were complacent with where they were with their family, meanwhile providing much direction and purpose to their actions in their music or in their secular career. How motivated? Hey, thank you for joining us tonight, Rod. Appreciate it, bro. How many of us out there tonight says in one area of our life, like, man, I need to be more intentional in that area of my life, or I need to provide more direction for that area of my life? Like, a life worth living must have direction. Oh my God, I just broke bread. A life that's going to yield results must have direction. Thanks for joining us, bro. I'm telling y'all, take that down. A life worth living must have direction. Why, Ant? Because direction helps you focus your efforts and make decisions that align with your objectives. Oh my God, I just broke bread. Like we think about areas in our lives where we're very intentional. We got maximum results. I can make decisions in line where I want to go. I'm not scattering. There's too many of us scattering our seeds across multiple grounds because we're not giving our seed direction. Most of us, we scatter our lives around different areas because we don't know what we've been called to for this season in our life. And so since we don't know, we scatter some 30, some 60, some 100-fold. But when we don't know, we gain more than 30-fold because we're scattering seed across 100 different places. I heard somebody say we have a chasm or a ditch that's a mile wide but an inch deep because we're spreading our seeds so wide that we can't get anything accomplished. Meanwhile, you got a brother who knows what they're doing, who's after pursuing purpose. They spread their seed an inch wide but a mile deep. Who's going to get the most results in their life? So we're scattering our seed for the lack of direction. We have to align with the objectives. We have to be, honestly clear about what we want out of this life, what we want from this world. Why have I been put here? I can never, or if I can't articulate my purpose, or if I can't articulate my vision, then how in the world can I attain it? I know, motivational teacher, I pray to God. I pray to God that he brings it. I give God glory. Motivational teacher, I know God has me. I know. God knows my heart. And I agree, and I love, and I applaud you for having that in your life. And y'all know I'm a spiritual brother by nature. I believe that God can do all things. With God, nothing is impossible. I believe all of those, but I also believe that you have a role to play in your own life. I don't believe that God commands your life like a puppet on a string. I believe that you have to give your life some direction in order to get the right manifestation. I just broke bread. I think you have to walk in some level of purpose to maximize your time on this earth. I just don't believe that God's going to magically put you in the Garden of Eden where you ultimately belong. I think there will be some part of your life that you play in order to maximize your life, to not take your potential back to the grave with you. You're going to play a big role. Well, God is the pilot and I'm the co-pilot. Ooh, to me, that whole phrase sometimes puts somebody other than us in the driving seat. I believe in God's providence. I believe that God hands it on our life. But I also do believe that faith without works are dead being alone. I do believe that we have to put our hands to the plow, hey, Pat, and not look back. Thanks for joining us, Pat. What's up, Mike? Thanks for joining us, bro. I do believe that there is a huge part that we play in our own life. I'm breaking bread right now. I am absolutely breaking bread because what most of us wants to do is relinquish the power over my life to somebody else. And that's why we blame the boss when I don't get the promotion, or we blame the person next to us when it doesn't work out, or my job is not going the way it's supposed to, or my kids are not doing the way it's supposed to. It's easy to say, I want to blame the person next to me, but we got to take some ownership. We have to take some ownership. If I relinquish all the power from my life to somebody else, it means that I must have that person's agreement in order for me to walk out my purpose in this earth. And that's a bold-faced lie. I would never relinquish the power over my life, over my vision, over my life, for my destiny to somebody else's hands. That's a mistake. And for so long, too many of us have been accepting direction from other people about the vision and purpose for our life, and not addressing the great I am who awakens my I am to give me the proper direction for my life. Thank you, Pat. I got to take accountability for my own life. I'm breaking bread right now. I am absolutely breaking bread, and we're going to overcome complacency in this place. I refuse to live a life less than what the great I am has already given me. I refuse to live a life where I'm eating slop from the hog's pen when I have a seat at the king's table. I refuse to underperform my potential that I know, man, that from the foundation of the earth, that God saw my mom and my daddy, put them together and said, man, I can create an Anthony. I will not underperform my potential. I cannot, I will not, I won't stop. Why? Why do I feel so passionate and poignant about this conversation? Because I believe that my life is like an arrow that's been pulled back at 100 miles per hour to let go by the great I am, and that I have to find my path. And once I find my path, I'm able to go at combustible speeds to change the course of human history. I'm breaking bread tonight. Some of y'all don't even think you can change your life, less than change your lineage of your family, less than change the world. We got to widen our scope. In order to do that, we got to give our life purpose. We have to give our life direction. We have to give our life align with objectives. Man, I'm breaking bread right now. Goals are important. Number one, it gives our life direction. Come on, Pat. Talk. I see some other people out here joining in this conversation and hopping on here. Thank you, Terry. What's going on, homeboy? Thanks for joining us tonight. What's up, Mike? Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm starting to see people add up. If I miss you, forgive me. Just know that I'm going in right now. And if I were you all, I would invite my top 5 friends to join me tonight, because this is going to give y'all something to talk about later on in the week, versus talking about what somebody else is doing, versus talking about what other people got going on. Baby, you can talk about what you got going on, and you can have an accountability partner with the same information, because we're going to get to it. I said it earlier. We got to create an environment, number 2, that's conducive to growth. In order for me to create, hey, Mom, thanks for joining us. In order to create an environment that's conducive to growth, I got to have people that are like-minded around me. How do I get people that's like-minded around me? By me inviting them and having them gain the same information that I'm gaining. That's how we create the environment, but that's next week. That's not this week. This week, we talking about why our goals so important. Angelique, the artist, chiming into this conversation. I think if you're complaining about what other people are telling you to do, then that means you should be doing more to see what God has for you to do. You better speak in the mic. But that's one of the biggest tricks of average, is to have you listen and thinking about what other people are saying. Hey, Cheryl, thanks for joining us. She said Deuteronomy 30:19. Yes, we play a part. I wish I could pull it up, Cheryl, because I really want to know what Deuteronomy 30:19. If you can, please put it in the chat. Copy and paste it from somewhere and put it in the chat. Love to see that, because we do play a role in how this is done. I can give you another example. Luke 14:28. It says, for which of you desire to build a tower or a house, and do not first sit down and count the cost, whether you have enough to complete it. Otherwise, when you've laid the foundation, you will not be able to finish it, and all who see it will begin to mock you, to say, this man began to build a building and was not able to finish it. We got to start counting the cost. But I would say at least that person had a vision. Most of us don't. Most of us, our vision is so watered down based on what other people said to us that we can't really begin to build the building. Like, I commend that person who was able to start it. I commend it. That's the hardest part. And I would love to see more of us begin to count the cost and having, oh, that's your auntie. Thank you, auntie, for joining us today. Thank you, Rod. Thank you, Rod, for sharing. I see somebody inviting that top 5, man. You better get them on here. You have to be willing to count goals, give our life direction. Number 2, goals give our life motivation. Having specific goals gives you something to strive for and keep you motivated. They provide you with a sense of accomplishment. Having specific goals give you something to strive for and keep you motivated. Man, when I know, I call it, when my sons and we're training, and even in my own life, I call it masters of the mundane. You have to be comfortable going day to day to day to day, doing the mundane things that it takes to become great. And what keeps you motivated knowing is that these small steps are connected to a bigger step. And that if I learn how to do enough small steps right, I'll eventually get to the big step and understand how to perform the great tasks. We masters of the mundane. I call it blocking and tackling. It's learning your ABCs, ABC, until you get to the point where you say them backwards, and then you can add syllables. We have to become masters of the mundane, and we have to be motivated and inspired and empowered to go every day knowing that this day is connected to the overall picture of what I'm supposed to do, that nothing in my day will be lost. No struggle, no hurt, no harm, no pain, no successes, no failures. They all play a part. And to me, attaining the ultimate purpose, which is why I was put on earth. Having goals keep you motivated, keep you a sense of accomplishment. It gives you a why to keep going through the battle. It gives you a how of why to keep pursuing and to press toward the mark of the high calling. Yeah, I've been shipwrecked, but I keep pressing. Yeah, I've been bitten by a serpent, but I keep pressing. Yeah, I've been thrown down and killed multiple times, but I keep pressing. Why? Because I know that all of this suffering is but for a moment, and it's connected to a larger cause and purpose that is called my life. I know I lived in a room the size of a closet before. I know I've had moments in time where I had a big fancy car and couldn't put gas in it, but I knew it was all a means to an end. That present situation wasn't meant to be my final outcome. I know I can stay motivated because I understood that it's tied to a greater purpose in my life. And the moment we see the big vision for our lives, the great I am will start showing us how the many pieces fit. Oh my God, that's a bread-breaking moment. I don't know why I had to have that illness. I don't know why my child went through that. I don't know why I got spared from that car accident. I don't know why that surgery didn't work. I don't know why it didn't work that way. The moment we start seeing and understand that there's a larger play in our lives, the moment we start seeing that this moment is connected to a greater moment, is the moment where we relinquish the power of our lives from external forces. And now we start to believe and build the internal forces. Motivation is imperative. Inspiration is imperative. Empowerment is imperative to overcoming complacency in your life. I'm telling you, fatigue. I'm telling you, empowerment. Knowing what I've been called to is greater, man. I'm telling you, I have seen days recently where I came home and sat down and just went to sleep at 6 o'clock. But I managed to accomplish everything I needed to in that day, and I had to push through. Why? Because I understood that this moment is tied to something greater. I'm not living my life as one who's not fighting a fight, or one who doesn't have a test at the end. I love the fact that today was open house for my children, and we went to their school and they passed out these syllables, and we looked at, today is August and they get out of school in May, and we looked at the syllables and we saw at the end there's a final exam. So everything that they attack, every skill set, every objective, everything that they learned during this school year is going to lead to a final exam. And how they do on each one of those individual, how they understand each one of those individual smaller tasks will determine the ultimate outcome of how they do on that final exam. Why, motivational teacher? Because we understand that each one of these minor skills are tied to the overall picture, which results in 40% of your grade. If you do poorly up front and the skills from August to November, you're setting yourself up for a poor May or December at the end of the semester. You're setting yourself up for a poor December because I didn't attain the skills I needed back in August and September to have a great December. I'm breaking bread right now. And I negated the small steps in between because my lack of motivation or my lack of direction, because I really had no goals for where I wanted to end this class. So therefore, I went through as one that's beating his own body. I went through as one that would incorporate little thought, because I didn't understand that the whole picture is tied to the smaller parts. It's the smaller parts make up the total sum. If I don't get the small parts right in the beginning, if I'm not motivated to meet those accomplishments, then at the end, there's no way I can pass the test without cheating, because I didn't take care of business on the front end. And there's too many of us that are looking for something on the back end when all we did is negate it the front end. I'm telling you, all of these things matter. I tell my kids, if you want to be great at anything, you must become masters of the mundane. You got to be willing to do the blocking and tackling. You got to be willing to do the add and subtraction. You got to be willing to do the sounding out of the words when other people think that it's too small. Thank you, Mike. Don't despise not small beginners. When most people think it's too small for you to do, you have to be like, I'm telling you, you got to just engulf yourself and believe that the small things will turn out to be a big thing. And I have to keep myself motivated, inspired, and empowered to push myself, even when I don't feel like I have the results. That's a bread broken moment. Thank you, Aunt Cheryl, for chiming back in this conversation. She said we do play a part. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you. I've set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Therefore, you choose. Thank you, Auntie. Auntie done sit here and gave us a scripture, boy. Hey, Auntie, I knew it was in there somewhere. I just didn't know which one it was. Thank you for joining the record with it. But thank you, Angelique. We got to become masters of the mundane. Become competent in doing the small thing where everybody want to do the big thing great. In order to do the big thing great, you got to be really competent with the small pieces. Today we're talking about how to overcome the power of complacency. Tyler Perry, the thing that made Tyler Perry so successful. Hey, Charlotte, thanks for joining us tonight. I remember Tyler Perry saying everything that it took to run a Tyler Perry production, he knew how to do. From behind the camera, from in the camera, from ushering at the door, from writing the plays, to shooting the plays, to directing the plays, to how to recruit, how to build, how to train. Everything that it took to put on a Tyler Perry production, he knew how to do it from beginning to end. And we wonder why he's so successful today, because he was masters of the mundane. He was masters of all the small pieces add up to be a big thing. But if I don't realize that the small things matter, then I will negate the small things and pray to God for the big things. And he could never deliver the big things because I've never done the small things. I've never done the small things. I love that Mike said, before you can master calculus, you must know that 1 + 1 = 2. It's the foundation. And many of us want to skip the foundation and go to the great thing. And honestly, having goals and setting goals, I should have said this up front. It's not about attaining the goal to the great I am. It's more about what you become in pursuit of that goal. You find out that you become a person that you didn't know. You find out that you become a person that is growing and going. And you look up one day and you're in a place and I don't know how I got there. You know why? Because you were motivated to keep going. When things went right, you were motivated. You became, I'm telling y'all, man, if you don't get anything out of this today, we got to start doing the small stuff. Stay motivated. And because the small things help us provide a sense of accomplishment when we achieve. Number 3, why goals are so important. It's progress. Goals allow us to measure our progress and track our achievement. It gives us a sense of how far we've come and how much still needs to be done. I'm guilty of this one. I am so guilty of not always tracking my progress toward my achievement. I'm so guilty that I've started doing the small things and I just fallen in love with the process, and the results doesn't matter. And a lot of times my wife, I love her because she knows me. And sometimes she said, hey, you need to celebrate this win. You need to slow up and realize what you just accomplished. You need to, because I'm telling you, I've fallen in love with the process so much that results don't matter. Oh, that sounds negative, but it's so true. My wife, I'm telling you, she has to literally tell me, this is a great milestone. We need to go out and eat, or we need to go do something to celebrate this milestone, because it's almost like, for me, it's almost like I have it before I have it, if you get that. It's almost like I have it before I have it. And when I get it, is no big surprise. So there's no way I don't feel the need to stop and celebrate it, because in my mind, I've always had it. But my wife always said, stop, enjoy that, and now let's keep it moving. You know why she's able to do that? Because I've communicated, I've articulated to her exactly what it is I want to do. Exactly what's my life's blueprint. I've communicated it so well that when she see another rung in that ladder, she can communicate, oh, that's worth celebrating. Not only can she communicate it, she can also check me when needed. I remember about 4 years ago, we were praying like, God, enlarge my territory. And we were praying that prayer ourselves, and I had an opportunity that presented itself to me, but it was outside of my comfort zone. And I was like, since it's so far out my comfort zone, it's going to require so much. I was like, I don't know if this opportunity is right for me. And she said, what's been our prayer? I said, our prayer is to enlarge our territory. That's what we've been praying. And she said, does this enlarge your territory? I said, absolutely, it does. And so she was able to check me in a moment of time when I had become complacency, or didn't want to go outside of my comfort zone because I'd articulated what my goals were. She was able to check me in that moment. So when we talk about creating an environment where we have people in our lives to hold us, I think Pat said it earlier, to hold us accountable, man, it creates an environment for cataclysmic growth. We have to start measuring our progress and tracking our achievements and taking a moment to celebrate those achievements. I'm not telling you to go buy you a new Lexus to celebrate the achievement. Maybe go eat a piece of cheesecake, or go get you a cookie, or do something you enjoy to celebrate that milestone, because your body start become addicted to those small wins. And in a minute, honestly, you'll get to the point where I'm so committed to this process that, man, wins come and you think, wow, how did it get here? And it came because you're bought in to the process. Why are goals important? Number 4, accountability. We talked about that earlier. Setting goals holds you accountable for your actions. Setting goals holds you accountable for your actions. I gotta break bread tonight. In this season and state of my life, like, I know what it is I'm supposed to be doing this season. And so I do have tunnel vision. And I'm so laser focused on those 4 areas that right now I'm looking for growth, that it kind of guides my decision making. And I do know some relationships have fallen by the wayside. And it's completely my fault, because right now I'm focused on these 4 areas, and I gotta get those 4 areas to the place in my life to where they're producing much fruit, because right now they're the ones that matter. Those are the ones that, to my life story, my life's work, that matter most. And I'm not apologizing that I'm not getting back to old relationships as quickly as I would, or as soon as I should. I can't apologize for it, because right now I'm laser focused on creating or building this vision that we have for our lives here at my house. I'm so focused on that, and I don't apologize that I might be a day or 2 late calling you back, or I don't apologize that I'm not available when you think I should be, or I'm not apologizing that my resources are tied up to where my vision are going, and I can't give to every one of your visions that you have. What God has given you is for you, and not necessarily for me. So if God gave it to you, He'll make provision for it. Doesn't mean I'm the provider for it, and I'm not apologizing for not scattering my resources. You had to call me 10 years ago, I wouldn't have mind scattering, but right now I'm laser focused and accountable to God with my time, my energy, my resources. I'm accountable. I'm accountable to the great I am for how I use or misuse the resources that He's allotted to me for this season in my life. I'm accountable to Him for that. So many of us scatter seeds because we don't realize that we're going to have to answer. We are going to have to answer for these seeds that He's given me. Come on, Auntie. Get in here again, write the vision, make it plain, and run with it. Ooh, I love it. What does running with the vision mean? It means I'm total, just like a runner in a race, they're only focused on their lane. Carl Lewis, one of my favorite gymnast athletes of all time. He's only focused on running his lane. I can't focus on what Jim and Terry and Martha and Mary are doing to my left and to my right. I have to run my lane. I'm so focused on my lane that I don't have time to be upset or jealous about what the Joneses are doing because I'm too busy running my race in my lane with blinders on. Man, I am breaking bread tonight if I've ever broke it. I am accountable, not to the person to my left or the person to my right. I am accountable for my lane. And many of us are so out of our peripheral vision looking and we're looking this wide and we're looking for the next best thing that we're neglecting to be masters of the mundane and what I have before me. You have to take responsibility for your choices and your commitments and stay committed. Come on, Pat. Feed, baby, feed. I'm coming to your house. We got to stay committed and accountable for the resources. Accountable. Your greatest resource is your time. Accountable for my time. Oh my God, this a whole nother motivational Monday in itself. I can't allow anybody else to steal my time. Break bread, Aunt. Time is my most precious commodity on this earth. I can always get more money. Oh my God, I broke bread. I can always get more money, but I'll never be able to get back time. Oh, I'll pay somebody to go out there and mow my lawn, that see their life's work connected to beautifying lawns. There's some people that just love doing that stuff. I love paying people to do, like we had a cleaning service come clean our house the other day. Oh my God, it was immaculate when they finished. And I love paying them and giving them, 30-40% tip. Why? Because to me, they're invested in my life by saving me time, saving my wife time, saving my boys. Well, you making them boys lazy by doing it? No, I'm teaching them a lesson. I'm teaching them a lesson. Your time is your most precious commodity. You better protect it because you're not, once that time is gone, you're not getting it back. Protect your time. I say invest your time. I'm telling you, the biggest accountability we have to the great I am is time. That whole dash on a tombstone represents time. Oh my God, that's a bread-breaking moment. Everything that you ever done in your life is represented by that dash. That dash defines the amount of time. People know your name and the amount of time you were here. That's a bread-broken moment. And you're allowing the thief to steal, kill, and destroy your time because you don't have what you think you need or somebody else got it better. You better get laser focused and run your lane. I'll be doggone. We're talking about accountability. Goals make you accountable. I'll be doggone if I got to get before the great I am. He asked me about my awakened I am. And I said, hey, Martha made me waste my time, or Mary made me waste my time, or you know what, I was chasing that sorry dude half the years, the best years of my life, or I'm going to protect my time. It is truly my greatest investment. It's truly what at the end of my life what I have to be most accountable for. See, some of y'all got the wrong theology. Y'all think y'all gonna have to answer for sins or things you did or did not do or how you missed the mark. No, you're gonna have to answer for that time. The only thing that made that story powerful when he gave men talents, some brought back 30, 60, 100-fold. The thing that made it important was he sent them away and gave them what? Time to reproduce themselves. And when they came back, it wasn't the amount of talents they did. He said it was more about what you did with the time. Boy, that's a bread-breaking moment right there. It's about how were you productive with the time that I gave you, because I can always have more talents. But did you invest the time that I gave you properly to bring me back sufficient results? And most of us are allowing time just keep on passing by. Another 365 days around the sun and nothing changes. Why? Because we're not accountable. We don't have goals. Goals keeps us accountable. We're not accountable for our actions. We're not accountable for our time. We're not staying committed to one thing long enough to see the results. Come on, man. It's a bread breaking moment. It's a bread breaking moment. You better be accountable. You better get some goals and hold yourself accountable to them. So how did you know I ran track? I didn't know. That story just came from the great I am who awakens my I am, and it sounded like it fit in that moment, Auntie. But we gotta start protecting and being accountable with our time. Goals are important, number 5, because of personal growth. Pursuing goals causes you or challenges you to learn and grow and push you beyond your comfort zone to have to learn new skills. Your goals require that you have personal growth. The person that I am today is not the person that can attract the masses. So I got to keep growing to grow into the person that can attract the masses. Whatever it is that you have in your heart to do, if you haven't attained it yet, then you got to grow into the person that can be able to do it. That's the thing about goals. I said it earlier. Goals are not just for you to be able to attain them, but goals are to build you into the person that can attract them. Everything that you are or will be is based on what you have on the inside of you. You have to attract those things to you. And personal growth, y'all know how I feel about personal growth and development. To me, it determines, your ceiling for your life. The more you're willing to grow, the more emotional intelligence you are. I don't think IQ is as important as EQ. I think EQ is so much more important than IQ. You have brilliant people that can't interact with anybody. And so I think emotional intelligence is much greater than intellectual quotient. I don't think it's what you were born with. I think it's what you acquire along the way. People learn to be emotional intelligent, but that only happens through personal growth. You want to like it's to me. Oh my goodness. Hey, Rodney, thanks for joining us. To me, I think it's all about us putting ourselves in a position where we see our goals and we reevaluate and we measure ourselves against those goals every year. This year, what areas did I grow, or what areas did I fail to grow in? And we'll be an open and honest conversation with ourselves about the path that we're living, about the time that I've used this next revolution around the earth. Therefore, when we get to be 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100, and we look back over our life, that we've charted the progress. And not only have we charted the progress, I could tell the story to my children's children on how they get from point A to point C. I could tell the story to mentees. I was at work today, and my son, who they're out of school, and I was working virtually today, and he was able to sit there and listen to me talk to one of my mentees. And one of the things that blessed me, he said, "Dad, that sounds like one of the same conversations you have with me. A lot of those same points you told him are the same things you're telling me. It tells me that I'm living my life in a harmonious place where who I am at home is who I am at work. It's telling me that I'm so accountable for my time, that I'm so engulfed in personal growth that I'm becoming a person who's the same person at the gym, who's the same person at the house, who's the same person at work, who's the same person down wherever I am. Because why? I'm falling in love with the process of becoming great. And I can't, some of us are able to wear masks and hats too much. I don't wear hats. I am who I am. I spent too much time reading, learning, and growing. I can't help but to pull it out. And it encouraged me so much to hear my son sit there doing that 30-minute conversation and say, "Dad, that sounds like the same stuff you share with me." And he asked, "Is that one of your mentees?" I said, "That's one of the people that asked me to mentor them." And when people ask me to mentor them, it's all growth and development. When I'm having conversations with my sons, I'm not fussing at my sons about what's right, what's wrong. We have growth conversations. We have growth conversations. We have standard conversations. What's your standard? I know that's the standards of your friends, but what are your standards? In the midst of your friends doing X, Y, Z, what's your standard? If that's your standard, that's your standard. But here we have different standards. And now under my roof, you live under my standards. When you're away from my roof, you start to create your own standards. So now when you're away from me and you're away from this house, what's your standard? That's a bread breaking moment. That's a personal growth conversation right there. All right, I gotta get ready. I got 2 more. Having goals, I said it earlier, helps us prioritize tasks and manage our time effectively. Time management. I hit that earlier by mistake. I hit that early. So go ahead and take that time thing, whole conversation we talked, and then tie it into that one. time management. And last but not least, man, having goals. Why are goals important? Because goals help us find fulfillment. Achieving meaningful goals brings us a sense of fulfillment and satisfaction, and overall enhancing your well-being and your happiness. Man, I believe the crux of the matter at the end of life, I like it how my boy said it in the Bible: fear God and keep his commandments. At the end of this life, and we're on our, just think forward, we're on our deathbeds. Will we believe that I've lived a fulfilling life? I know on my deathbed what determines whether I had a fulfilled life. Not how much money, not what car I drove, not how big my house is. How many people did I impact positively on this earth? Did I leave this earth a better place by me having been here than it would have been without me having been here? I can already tell you on my deathbed whether I was successful or not depends on how many lives did I touch. Oh my God, that's a bread-breaking moment. How many people did I help them find a sense of fulfillment and satisfaction? How many people did I help enhance their overall well-being and happiness? I know when I'm on my deathbed what determines whether I was successful or not. It's definitely ain't my bank account. It definitely ain't the house. It definitely, and honestly, it's definitely not just my kids. My kids are a part of my legacy, but my legacy is so much bigger than just my house. This is what I believe. And this is just, I'm on a whole different subject right now. This is just what I believe, that he fills our cup until our cup runneth over. I came there so you can have life more abundant to the full, till it overflows, is what that means. And so if I'm living my life in a place where I have goals, and I live my life with this direction, with this fulfillment, then I'm living my life in a place where I got overflow. I believe to the full, to the overflows. I believe that the cup is my house. The overflow is everybody outside my house. If I live my life in a place of growth and development, I'll always have overflow. Oh, that's a broken moment. I'll always have overflow. And so that gives me a sense of fulfillment. Do you know what gives you a sense of fulfillment? Do you know, like, God forbid, at some point we all got to depart this earth. If you thought about it, at the end of your life and you're on your deathbed, have you thought about what determines whether you had a purpose-filled life? By Rick Warren. Do you know what will give your life fulfillment? At the end, I'm okay laying at whatever point, I'm okay laying on my deathbed, get ready, knocking on heaven's gate to say, man, I fought a good fight. Oh my God, that's a bread. I kept the faith. That's a bread breaking moment. I'm okay doing it because I know I poured my life out like a drink offering. But that's what God gave me to do. I don't know what it is he called you to do. I don't know what it is that your life purpose is. I know what my fulfillment looks like. And I'm okay answering the question. And that's why I show up. Whether I'm tired, I show up with a brand new word. I show up with a page full of notes that I've worked on the previous day. I show up with something that I think is going to help somebody find a sense of purpose and drive them toward their personal and professional success. I show up. Why? Because I know that my life, that my goals are fulfilled and fulfilling you. But that's my life purpose. That's my life's goal. That's what he gave me to do from the foundation of the earth. I think you got to get to a place where you can answer the question about what's the goal of your life. It's a bread-breaking moment right there. And because Tyler Perry's success is in moving and changing the industry and being an industry setter as it relates to cinema, that's his goals for his life. Oprah Winfrey talk shows. LeBron is all over the world more than an athlete to pave the way for future athletes. That's what his life's purpose, his life's calling is. Can you answer what's your life purpose? Can you give your mission statement on your deathbed and say, I have been successful with the call of my life because I fulfill A, B, C, and D? Are you that clear? Can you articulate your goals and the purpose for your life in that manner? It's a bread-breaking moment right there. Until we get to the point where we're able to communicate the why we're here, the more we will always invest time in the wrong areas. We will always invest time in the wrong areas until we're able to clearly articulate why we're here. I am so comfortable knowing what my true purpose in life is that I can give you my deathbed mission statement that determines whether I've had a successful life or not. Listen, I know we're talking about the power of complacency, but sometimes I love the way we have to start with the end in mind. He calls the end from the end to the beginning. He start a thing because he already knows the end for it. And sometimes we got to start there and work our way back to fulfill it. Oh, that sounds like it's so negative. Why? The key is that we end up with the right answers. That's the key, that we end up with the right answers. Thank you, Angelique, on YouTube. A profound breakdown of how goals help us move out of complacency. Motivational teacher. I'm glad you caught it live too. And thank you all for chiming into this conversation. Fulfillment. I think every person at the end of this life wants to feel fulfilled. I think that's the ultimate measure of a man. I think that's why we're here. And we have to start placing ourselves in situations where we're answering that question. And then if you don't know the purpose or the value for your life right now, start with the end in mind. What do I want to be known for? And at the end of my life, what problem do I want to solve? What am I most passionate about? The power of complacency. A lot of us are complacent, not because we want to be, but because we don't know any other answers. We don't have any other solutions. I'm just doing what I know to do. And well, I'm telling you that there's more out there for you. But you got to get in touch, and you got to have some tough conversations with yourself. Like I told you, tonight was the first part of goal setting. And so next week, we're going to give you three ways to overcome the power of complacency. Tonight was goal setting. Next week, we're going to talk about environment. Your environment is so important to overcoming complacency. And I can't wait to get into that conversation next week. And you all have been a phenomenal audience tonight. We had over 25 eyes at one time. I know there was a lot of people popping on and had things to do, going back to catch the replay. But I do appreciate all you all, Auntie Cheryl, Pat, the artists, Mike, Charlotte. I appreciate all of you all chiming into this conversation, because you all really, my mom, you all really would make this conversation what it is. What's up, Dex? Thanks for joining us, bro. Thanks for chiming into this conversation also. I think this will be one, again, I say share it with your top 5 relationships. I say come back and listen to it again, because it was truly a bread-breaking moment. And until next time, I am challenging you to wage war on mediocrity. Your boy is out.
It ain't no friend to me. Wage a war, wage a war, wage a war, wage a war against mediocrity. It ain't no friend to me.